The fate of their entire world hangs in the balance. In fact, it was in the small hands of the most unlikely of heroes. As great armies smashed together outside the gates of the evil land of Mordor, a little hobbit cradled the Ring of Power in his palm. Will he cast it into the inferno, or will he keep it? The mighty king meekly surrenders himself to the cruelest of taunts and indignities and suffering, all for the cause of ransoming an unworthy traitor. Will his wicked adversary, the notorious White Witch, triumph in the end and cast the world into a bleak, unending winter? The young wizard's wand is ripped out of his hand. The disfigured mouth of the one who must not be named, the one who killed his parents and left an indelible scar on his infant forehead, curled upward in a vicious sneer as the murderous spell is about to be cast, unleashing the darkest forces on both the wizarding and muggle worlds. These are dramatic moments that grip our throats and capture our imaginations. Ultimate clashes of pure evil versus sacrificial good. They burst out of the pages of the beloved epic stories of our times. The Lord of the Rings, the Chronicles of Narnia, and the Harry Potter adventures. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Life Academy. I'm Pastor Doug Pratt. I'll be presenting to you this four-part series on the great epics of modern literature from a Christian perspective. You may be surprised to learn that underpinning these incredible tales that have inspired hundreds of millions, there lies a common worldview and set of values that is remarkably consistent, not only with one another, but with the Christian faith. Whether or not you have read the series of books we'll be talking about, or have seen one or more of the film adaptations, or have never read them, I think you'll be inspired by the great stories and characters they contain and the truths they so powerfully present. We'll dive into these powerful epics in just a moment, but very quickly, may I ask for your help? If you enjoy this video, please hit the like button and feel free to subscribe to the Life Academy channel. You hear this request on YouTube quite a bit, I know, but it really does help our channel by ensuring more people find us, allowing them to see or hear inspiring stories like these, and allowing us to create more content for you. And you can share these videos directly with your friends as well. Thank you so much for your help. We appreciate it tremendously. What do we mean by an epic? Epic literature tells large-scale and sweeping stories, usually through multiple books or episodes, rather than a single installment, that tend to have the following characteristics. An epic deals with the major themes and issues of life. Its story is built on a foundation of distinctive worldview or understanding of reality. It includes many characters, plots, and subplots, and is rich in detail. The epic offers a full range of moral characteristics, good and evil, which are demonstrated in the characters. Often both natural and supernatural forces and phenomena intersect. The stories can be enjoyed and appreciated by all ages. They express the highest cultural values and aspirations of a nation or people. Some examples of great epics of world literature include Homer's Iliad and Odyssey from ancient Greece, the stories of the Norse gods and Beowulf from Scandinavia, and the Arthurian legend, Camelot, King Arthur, Merlin, the Round Table, etc., from medieval England. The Bible is in many respects the greatest epic of all, though it is grounded in true human history. The great 20th and 21st century epics in British literature are The Lord of the Rings, with its prequel, The Hobbit, by J.R.R. Tolkien in 4 books beginning in 1937, The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis in 7 books beginning in 1950, and the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling in 7 books beginning in 1997. There are remarkable similarities between these great British epics. All 3 have had tremendous popularity and commercial success. All three imagine a different world and create for it a unique and consistent history, different creatures and species, and separate cultures and traditions. All three are great stories and page-turners, long and multiple volumed, with many intersecting plots and subplots. All three have been loved by children and adults. All three have been made into commercially successful Hollywood films in the past decade or two. All three involve magical and supernatural forces, powers, and processes. All three portray the fate of their imaginary worlds during their ultimate hours of conflict between good and evil, with the fate of all characters hanging in the balance. All three draw upon medieval British and European culture and utilize multiple historical, linguistic, mythological, and legendary references. All three are written by authors influenced strongly by the Christian faith, who apply Christian and biblical values, images, and worldview to their imaginary worlds and characters. Well, what about the great American epics? I believe that the greatest produced in America in the 20th century is the original trilogy of the Star Wars series of films by George Lucas. There are interesting similarities and contrasts to the three British epics we are studying. I noticed 7 striking similarities. First, Star Wars portrays imaginary worlds and cultures. Second, it uses heroes and villains as examples of moral choices. Third, it depicts great cosmic conflicts with the fate of entire worlds hanging in the balance. 4, Star Wars utilizes multiple characters, plots, and subplots. 5, it extends over multiple volumes and episodes. 6, it employs supernatural powers interwoven with natural, the infamous Force. And 7, it invents new species and languages. But there are also 3 major differences. Star Wars was created as a film first, not in written form as novels. Film is more powerful in some ways compared to the printed page, but is limited in other ways. Star Wars is greatly influenced by New Age spirituality and an Eastern worldview rather than Christian principles. And the series declines in quality from the first trilogy to the second and beyond. This is partly due to the limitation of prequels after a conclusion has already been presented, partly because Lucas and his team became increasingly dependent on high-tech special effects to the neglect of character and plot development, and partly because the latest versions of the cash-generating Star Wars franchise, since Disney purchased Lucasfilm, have been, in my opinion, artistically inferior with formulaic plot lines. Well, I'd like to offer my analysis of why America, a vastly more populous country than Britain, has not produced more worthy epics in the past century. The primary reason is that we are a comparatively young culture and don't have the depths of European corporate heritage. We learn European culture, but it is not ours in the same way. The New World and its settlers have tended to be future-oriented, thus the Star Wars science fiction and its futuristic bent, rather than past-oriented, as with the medieval cultures woven into the 3 British epics. To those who would claim that America has produced worthy epics from the Civil War, Roots, Gone with the Wind, the Old West, or the Second World War, I would reply that those don't qualify as true epics because they are rooted in this world only and in real time and recent history, rather than in fantasy worlds or including a spiritual dimension. I would like to offer an honorable mention commendation to one 21st century American series of books that I believe could qualify as epic literature. The 4 books of the Wingfeather Saga, first published in 2008 and subsequent years by Christian author Andrew Peterson. We will not be discussing this series in detail because it has not captured the public attention and interest of our 3 highlighted epics, but the books are excellent, describing an alternative world going through a great crisis with imaginary creatures interspersed with humor and tense drama, demonstrating substantial insight into the moral issues of life. Hopefully, a subsequent generation will discover the Wingfeather Saga. But the adventure before us in this series is to look carefully at The Lord of the Rings, The Chronicles of Narnia, and the Harry Potter world through the lens of Christian truth. I hope you'll join me in our next episode as we explore Middle-earth and remember the great struggle between good and evil that convulsed that world. This is Doug Pratt for the Life Academy.